Hi everyone, it's me, Beata Kelly Sunflower. So I thought I'd hop on today and do a flip through of my latest deck, and it's called the Stoller Tarot by Stoller. So let's take off all the plastic packaging. Okay, so at the side of the deck, it says, this delightful deck combines whimsical drawings and humorous stories with a resonated minor arcana featuring spoons, balloons, buckets, and brooms. Okay, so let's have a wheel of the back. The Stoller deck includes 78 pocket-sized tarot cards and a 64-page booklet, and it's by US Games. Let's open this up. So inside the tin, you get a guidebook. So let's go through the guidebook first. So like a mini book of 64 pages. Mini book has 62 pages. Writing's quite big, which is good for someone like me. So it just says copyright 2021 US Games. Introduction. It has been a long road to get this tarot deck into your hands. My interest in art started very early with a fascination for the comic strips that I saw every day in the newspaper. Soon I was drawing my own pictures, and I suppose I eventually saw myself doing this as a career. At the same time, I was a prolific reader and spent a good deal of my time exploring subjects that appealed to me, from history to science fiction. I absorbed whatever information I could. Along the way, I came across tarot cards. It was probably the Fool card that attracted my attention at first, but when I explored a little further, I was fascinated by the imagery on each one of the 78 cards in the deck. Every card told a different story. This of course, led me trying my own versions, which turned out to be rather cartoony. As my cartoony skills progressed, I think I always had it in the back of my mind to pursue and finish a tarot deck in that style. So I bucked down and started drawing and beginning a course with the major arcana. The characters were the biggest and boldest and seemed to be the most interesting ones to portray. With the Rider-Waite deck as my inspiration, I began to think about how I wanted to approach these images. At first, I thought just reinvent the images of the Rider-Waite deck, but in cartoon form. It seemed like a less daunting task than re-imaging all 78 cards. With that idea in mind, I kept working at it until finally completed the deck. I had no idea what to do with my finished product. I think I mainly did it for my own enjoyment. My original drawings were done in pen and ink and coloured with colouring pencils on 2-ply heavy paper stock. I basically made them to function as one-of-a-kind tarot deck. I played around with the cards for a little bit, but they soon found themselves sitting on a shelf somewhere. So every so often I would pull these cards out and redraw a few before moving on again. Eventually they had progressed, and so had the style and techniques I used to produce my art. With an idea towards updating the whole deck, I once again began redoing all cards where I could. I basically reused the same images, but I also began to updating the images here and there, adding more touches of humour and uniqueness. I still haven't progressed far into the realm of computer at this point and was doing the cards by hand. I had also discovered a new way to add colour to the images using high-end markers. This new version turned out better than I expected, so this time I did a little research and found a few companies that published tarot decks. Unfortunately, none of these companies thought a cartoon deck would be viable in the market at that time. That was okay, since I had mainly done them for myself. Once again, my deck of cards found themselves in a drawer somewhere. Fast forward to some 20 odd years later, when I got a call from Stuart Kaplan from US Game System. It seems times had changed and there is a greater interest in unique and whimsical tarot decks, and this may be the right time for mine. Unfortunately, over the years, I had lost track on how of my old work. I was only able to find some old photographs of my pen and ink drawings at first. I was intending just to use these copies and recolor them on a computer, but after reviewing the deck, it was clear that some of the images would now be considered inappropriate and would have to be redrawn. I just wasn't sure I could duplicate the same style I used over 20 years ago. I like to believe my skills have gotten a little better since then. Because I was going to be redrawing the images anyway, I thought I might as well do them all over again in my current style and take full advantage of advances in digital design technology. This time, however, I didn't want to copy the images of the Rider-Waite deck, but where possible, I wanted to reimagine them. Some of the images ended up being very different from the Rider-Waite, while others often started with Rider-Waite and then were given a little twist. For most of the cards, I tried to keep the various elements and symbols from Rider-Waite, but I could present it a little differently. My goal was also to stay true to the meanings behind each card, even while creating this distinctly different look. The experienced tarot enthusiast and those familiar with the Rider-Waite deck, you may find it interesting to spot the use of some of the symbols found in Rider-Waite. I like to think of it like "where is Waldo" kind of thing. For others, you might just enjoy a laugh at a humorous image. My goal was to make the whole deck as fun as possible, but still be useful for the serious tarot reader. You get to decide whether or not I succeeded. As a final note, I would add that I did change the suit of the minor arcana a bit, just to make the whole thing a little more whimsical. I changed the suits to spoons, balloons, buckets and brooms. They corresponded to more familiar suits like spoons, swords, balloons, coins, buckets, cups, and brooms, wands. So, the cards. The following is a brief explanation of each card, or more precisely, the story of the characters in the cards where appropriate. I tried to provide a bit of meaning for some of the symbols used in the cards, but I've also left it somewhat open for you to provide your own interpretations. To me, that's part of the enjoyment of tarot, discovering its mysteries and applying them to learn for your own personal growth. Okay, so for the minor arcana, let's have a look at the Four as an example. So he's put 0, the Four. The Four is deep in thought right after being fired from his job at the palace. He doesn't realise that he is about to take his last or first step into the unknown. He carries the worldly possessions in his sack over his shoulder. In his other hand, he holds a white rose to signify he is pure of heart. The dog who has been following him for the last mile is perhaps trying to warn him of the peril, but he could just be looking for a treat. Upright, new beginnings, leap of faith, enthusiasm, spontaneity, innocence. Reversed, naivety, risk-taking, distraction, stupidity, and recklessness. So he gives, like a little paragraph of his explanation of the card of each archetype, a few lines for the upright card and a few lines for the reverse card. And he does that for each of the major arcana. There's no pictorial images in this guidebook. And then he goes into the minor arcana. So for the minor arcana, he just gives a blurb, again, upright and reversed meanings. And he does that to the minor arcana archetypes. So it's quite a well written little small book. And I like the fact that Adam Stoller has let us know in this little white book why he decided to do a tarot deck and the struggles that he had getting that tarot deck completed. Okay, so let's have a look at the cards. So these are the backs of the cards. I wouldn't say that they're reversible, in my opinion. No, they're not reversible, but beautiful backs. I love circles. Okay, so let's flip through these beautiful cards. So you've got the Fool, and there's his little white dog, and there's the cliff. Love this Magician card. You know, all the suits are on his table. The Moon card. So she's got the crescent moon in her hair as a hair slide. She's sitting on a moon. She's got her scroll there, the two pillows. The Empress in her garden. The Emperor looks like a very wise, mature person. I like the fact that he's got an ankh there. Beautiful. That's the key of life, the ankh. The Hierophant. Got the keys there. And his pupils, eager to learn and absorb his information. The Tower is interesting. So you've got a fairy with a bow and arrow and a snake wrapped around a couple, which kind of gives a lover's kind of vibe to me. You've got the Chariot. There's horses here instead of Sphinx, and they're not black and white, they're both white, but then they're white and grey, and I guess black and white does make grey, so it's a combination of both. Strength. Beautiful. But this is more about physical strength than emotional strength. Got the Hermit. Going away to contemplate. Wheel of Fortune. That's interesting. It's people playing looks like Russian roulette, or is that chess? I'm not sure. Justice, you know, like the Rider-Waite-Smith, she's got the blindfolds to be impartial and the rain scales and the sword, but her sword's dipped with blood, which I guess can mean not everything will go your way once the truth is revealed. Got the Hangman hanging from a tree. Death. Temperance. Trying to find that, you know, even mix. Looks like it's a scientist in a laboratory testing out the potions to find one that's best. Or could even be someone testing something to make sure that it's just right. The Devil, and as you can see, people are bound there. I can't read that. It says HTUST, but backwards. The Tower. Oh, hang on, the Tower. I thought I just read the Tower. Oh dear, I have to do a correction. This card here that I said was the Tower originally is the Lover's card. Sorry for that error. So you've got the Star. The Moon. The Sun. This is a baby crawling, and even the horse is a baby horse crawling as well. It's interesting. And the Sun looks like the parent looking down lovingly at her child, or his child. This is Judgment. The End. This is interesting because you've got this could be Adam, Eve, the snake, and the apple, and this could even be God if you want to look at it from a biblical kind of sense. And that could be also be when he sends them out of the Garden of Eden to restart their life again, you know. You've got the World. Right, so moving on to the suits. The first suit that you have is a suit of balloons, and the balloons in the traditional deck are coins. So you've got the Ace of balloons. You've got the two of balloons. Finding that balance. The Three of balloons. The 4 of Blooms, the 5 of Blooms. This is kind of like Rider-Waite inspired, where people are left out in the cold. Got the 6 of Pentacles, or Blooms, the 7. You know, it's about personal growth and always having a second option. The 8 of Pentacles, Blooms, the 9. This is nice though, because this is like a mature lady. She's got like a nice fox fur kind of scarf or shawl. She's got her bird there. And it shows that she's, you know, worked hard throughout her whole life, and she's enjoying her retirement years. And you get the 10 of Blooms, which is a generation of family. You know, grandparent, parent, child. Then you've got the Page, the Knight. This Knight looks quite slow, doesn't it? Then again, I do guess that the Knight of Pentacles in the traditional deck is about being slow and methodical. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Love her hairstyle. This is the Queen of Blooms. And the King of Blooms. And I like that the court cards are kind of age appropriate, because back in the day when I learnt tarot, you know, kings and queens were always people of a mature age. This one looks kind of teenagey, because I always see the Knight as a teenager, and I always see the Page as a young person, and I think that the age has been depicted in these cards. You know, on most of the modern decks that I've come into my collection, that's not always apparent in the court cards. So moving on to the suit of Brooms, and just to jog your memory, Brooms is the wands in the traditional deck. So you've got the Ace, the 2. I like that he's got the world in his hand. It's like he's looking into the future to see what's going to transpire. You've got the 3 of Brooms, waiting for the ship to come in. There are some kind of Rider-Waite inspirations there. 4 of Brooms, this is beautiful, setting up your foundation. 5 of Brooms, this is challenges of the job, I guess, or just challenges of life. This is victory, so it has got Rider-Waite spiff. This one here, the 7 of Brooms, this guy is really standing his ground. Oh, I love this. The 8 of Brooms is like witches flying in the night on their broomsticks. To do, you know, because I do see this card as communication. So they're doing all their, you know, communication spells at night. This guy looks completely tired and the 10 of Brooms. Moving on to the court cards, you've got the Page, the Knight. This horse or donkey has got, seems like it's got a little bit faster movement than the previous one. The Queen, and I love her kind of sun there. Even the crown looks like flames of the sun. And she's still a cat. She's got lions, and she's also got her own little black cat there as well. It's got a very Leo-ish feel to me. And the King of Brooms. Moving on to the suit of buckets, and the buckets are cups in the traditional deck. So you've got the Ace of buckets, the 2. Look at that, showing the water, things being entwined. And I love I don't know what animal this is, as the angel. It's beautiful. That's 3 friends collaborating together rather than celebrating. Well, I said you can call gardening an enjoyable task as well. This guy here this looks like he's out of it, and he's missing that opportunity there. Interesting depiction, because normally, you know, in a traditional deck, the things behind are what the archetype is missing. But in this one, it's like he's drowned in sorrow for what's going on, but he is trying to face the possibility of something better. Six of buckets. Love these choices in the 7. Oh, this is a really nice depiction because this is a more mature person. So it looks like they've endured years of emotional, you know, upset, and they're finally walking away. But this looks like a person that's been enduring that for years. Big blowout bucket sale. So this guy seems to be doing well in his sales, so he's quite comfortable. And then you get the 10 of buckets, which is looks like a couple getting married, and you can see the rainbow, which is RWS kind of influenced. Moving on to the court cards, you get the page. You can see the fish out of water there still. The knight. The queen. Again, I like the maturity of the queens in this deck, and the king, which I also like the maturity of as well. Moving on to the suit of spoons, which is the swords in the traditional deck. You get the ace. It's like he's experimenting there. 2 of swords, trying to find a balance or make a decision, because swords are to do, spoons are to do with the mind. Oh, I love this depiction of the 3 of spoons. So the heart is there, and the swords are trying to enter him, and he's pushing them away. So he's trying to control, you know, that, because he's saying, no, I don't want you to enter me and pierce me and give me stress or mental anxiety. That's the 4. This is interesting though, because this could mean like the final resting place. 5 of spoons. The 6 seems trying to move away from safer waters, away from the shark. That one is like a burglar in the 7 of spoons. This one again, it's about mental anxiety, in my words. You know, you can release yourself from that mental bondage if you really want to. But then this one hasn't got no arms, so how can she do that, really? This one is the nightmare card, or the bad dream cards, or the spoons are dangling down over her head, which to me represents her mind. Oh dear, this looks like not a good card. It's all blood there. So you've got the page. They look quite naughty there. The knight, and you can see that this I think there's a donkey is faster moving with faster lightning, because you've got the lightning there. That's how I see that one as. The queen and the king. Isn't that a beautiful deck? It's got some kind of marking at the back of the cards. So let's give these cards a shuffle and see how they shuffle. Usual US game standard, which I like, to be quite honest. So this is the Stoller Tarot. That's what I think of this deck. I quite like it. You know, I like the quirky interpretation. It is Rider-Waite influenced. It's also got its own little twist. And I'm looking forward to working with this deck. So I wanted a link to this deck in the description bar. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.